Hello, everybody. Sunday Delaja here. Welcome, everyone to this program. Today is going to be a book review, but it's not going to be reviewing my book. It's going to be reviewing the book of one of my guests that I've decided to invite to this program today. She's probably one of the boldest women that you will ever come across. To me, she is the boldest of the boldest women. Bold woman. Когда is правляешь, ты должна одеть, чтобы ты говоришь, no, it's правляешь, чтобы была сразу контролирована. She is one of the boldest ladies, women I've ever met. And when you see a book and you read a book and you hear a story, you will understand what I mean. She is absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And the person I'm talking about is Amanda Amuebie Lazmon. She is originally from Nigeria, but she is a citizen of Belgium now because she is a citizen by marriage. She's married to a wonderful, it's like I know all her family now because of a book that I read. So she's married to a wonderful husband over there in Belgium. And, but you are going to hear her story today. But I think one of the, striking features of Amanda is her face. And that is one of the reasons why I will say she is the boldest woman out there. Because she's also a songwriter and a singer, a worshiper, a singer. She goes doing conferences, speaking, and singing in conferences. And for most of us, most of the world, they will be so intimidated by just the outward look or the scar. But when you hear about the scar, you are thinking about the face. But it is not, the scars are even much more serious than that one. And in fact, in the book, I don't think it is the face that is the big scar, that is the biggest scars in her life. But she is so hooked up to purpose, to God, to fulfillment, that the attachment to her purpose supersedes all forms of scars that she has experienced in her life. So the scars couldn't hold her back. All the disappointments, the failures, the pain, the scars couldn't just bury her alive. She refused to be buried alive. This woman, you will learn a lot from her. So I want you to please go ahead and share this message with as many people as possible. Go and share in your inboxes. Go and invite everybody that has been challenged one way or the other, or one time or the other in life, especially people who think that they have so much trouble that they want to commit suicide. You know, right now, all over the world, there is a big trend of people committing suicide. In Africa, before, Africans never used to commit suicide. But now it has gotten there. It has gotten to a place that even Africans are committing suicide. And but when you finish reading the book of this lady, Amanda, you will discover that there is no room for suicide at all in this life. If she didn't commit suicide, then everybody can live. And that's why I believe that we should do everything possible. Everybody watching me today, we'll all have to contribute to making sure that this book goes viral, that this book gets to as many houses as possible, to as many households as possible, because this could prevent a whole lot of suicide and a whole lot of death, a whole lot of depression. This book would deliver a lot of people from dungeon. So please go and invite as many people as you could get, all your friends, and send them the link that this story must be heard. So this is a true story, and our book is on Amazon. This is a book there you see on the screen. Purposed Beyond My Scars is the name of the book. Purposed Beyond My Scars. So let me introduce you right now to Mrs. Amanda Amuebie Lazmon. Hello, hello, Mrs. Amanda.
Hello, DSA. Good evening, sir.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Well, I said you have become, for me, a symbol of courage, boldness, and, tenacity, audacity, stamina, endurance. You are a woman in your own class. I'm sure the whole world would like to know, who is Amanda?
Thank you very much, DSA. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for doing this. I am awed by the simple fact that you want to do this. I mean, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Amanda is just an ordinary woman like every other woman. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a child of God. That's Amanda. Very simple, ordinary person who cries like every other woman.
Why did you decide to write this book?
I decided to write this book because of the challenges that I have been through in life. And part of the challenges that I went through brought me to a point where I got the opportunity to visit many places, churches, events, to speak on how I survived or how I am dealing with my situation. But as it is, if you go to events, they don't organize it specially for me. They organize it, maybe they have a training program, maybe they have a church event, and they invite me. I get 20 minutes, I get 30 minutes, sometimes an hour. Now, there is so much in my life that you cannot share it in 1 hour. So I thought, sometimes I go to one place, I talk about a certain part of my life. Another time I go somewhere, I talk about another part. And I'm thinking, there is no way I can bring this story to one, to let people hear it in the short time that I get. Even if they set up an event, especially for me, and it lasts 5 hours, I won't be able to tell it exactly how I was feeling at the time it was happening to me. So I decided to put this book together so that people can actually know what really happened. And many of the questions that people are asking, that they can finally get answers to them.
How would you like to start our conversation today? People are seeing you and they are seeing your book. So, but I would like to give you the go-ahead to let us know how to start the way you would like to start.
I think that I'll be okay with however you want to go about it. You are free to ask me anything you want to ask. People are free to ask me anything they want to ask. I am open to talk about anything that anybody wants to know about.
Well, let me tell you my own experience. When I saw your book at first, I wanted to read the book so badly because I wanted to find out what kind of injury or accident you had that disfigured your face so much. But then when I started reading the book, I read the first chapter. I thought I was going to find it in the first chapter. I didn't. I went to the second, I didn't. I went to the third, I didn't. I went to the fourth, I didn't. I got to the last chapter before I discovered what happened. So, but then everything that was happening from the first chapter really made me to know that you are an Igbo woman. And the reason why I decided that you are an Igbo woman is that I believe that Igbos are masters of prose, storytelling, and you just proved that, because this book, I will even advise you to submit it for some book competitions, because this book needs to win an award. Even stylistically. The way it is written, the style of writing, the engagement, the way it is so engaging and so captivating. I'm a writer myself. I've written over 300 books, maybe 400. but the way you write is so captivating that it is breathtaking from the beginning to the end.
Wow. Coming from you, I am humbled. Wow. Wow. I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm humbled. I am humbled. I just told my story exactly how it happened to me. I got an offer before, while I was preparing to write the book, from someone who said, you know what, you just take your time, just tell me the story, I'll write it for you. I thought, no, you didn't feel what I felt. You were not there. Okay, I'm not a professional writer. This person is a professional writer. But what I needed wasn't the professional perfection. I just needed people to see and hear me like it happened to me. Exactly how it happened. I didn't want anybody to bring in big words and make it very fancy. I wanted it to just be authentic. And I'm glad that you like it. And many other people have also told me the same thing. So I really, really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, I want to encourage everybody watching this program to buy the book, to look for the book on Amazon and go and buy the book, because the book, I know she will tell a good story today, but she will not be able to finish it in its one program. That's number one. Number two, her style of writing is something else. I'm sure it will be much better. It will be much better than the way she speaks. I don't even know how she can speak and write and make it come across like in the book. Because in the book, she applied a lot of principles. She said she's not a professional writer, but she must have read a lot, or she must be a very smart woman, because because she applied a lot of skills that only writers or good readers will be able to appreciate. And so I saw a lot of those there. And that's why I said I know she's an Igbo woman, because Igbos, I think, it's just in their blood, especially if they're educated, to tell stories. The way the stories come across in that book, you just think she's an expert. Yeah, so how would you like to start this one? Could you tell us about how you got to, let's start with how you came to Europe.
Okay.
Before we go to how you met your husband. Because the way you are telling the story about how you met your husband, everything, the suspense and the anticipation and the unexpectedness and all the drama that is involved, that is enough for a film on its own.
maybe that's a prophecy on its own. Maybe there'll be a whole movie about it.
I think there should be. I believe there should be one. Yes.
Okay. So I finished school. I have always been an inquisitive person. I want to see things. I want to know things. So
where did you? People will be wondering where you were born, where you grew up in.
Okay, it's in the book, but I will tell it. I was born in Delta State, in a place called Amuebie. It's in Delta State. And my mother is from Otocha, while my father is from Delta State. My mom is from Anambra State, Otocha, and my dad is from Umunede, or was from Umunede. Both of them are late now. So they were. My dad was from Umunede in Delta State, while my mom was from Anambra State, Otocha. I was born in a family of 4 sisters. I am the last. One of them lives here, and 2 of them in Nigeria. So that's about my family history for now. And I came to Europe in 1993, looking for the greener pastures.
Like all of us, huh?
like all of us. So, and that is it about. That is about that. I came to Europe in 1993 on my own. And from one thing led to another, I met my husband. My intention was to go, maybe stay in a country for 2 years, go to another country, stay there 2 years, learn a little bit about them, see what is there, and then keep going. But when I met my husband in Belgium, yeah, I stayed, and my plans to go and stay 2 years there didn't work out.
You moved over from Holland.
Yes.
You were in Holland before you met your husband.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So, my plan to go from one place to another, go to Italy, go to Spain, go to there, didn't work out. And so what I do now is go to those places I wanted to go there now on vacation. It's not 2 years. I can't stay there 2 years, but 2 weeks is more than enough to, get to see some of the places, maybe not all of it. So I just go on holidays now and live in Belgium.
Yes, go ahead and continue with the story.
So I lived about 4 years in Sardinia. About 2 years in Sardinia. Sardinia is an island in Italy.
Yes.
Okay. So I lived there for about 2 years, and then I came here. I came to Belgium with the intention of going. I had nowhere in mind, but after 2 years of staying here, if it wasn't good, move somewhere else. I just liked the idea of traveling and living my life. I was young and stupid, but then I got hooked and I stayed here.
You don't want to tell us the story?
What exactly do you want? Okay, I tell the story then. So when I met my husband, part of the things that I wrote in the book that happened to me, it like every newly married couple, it was our intention to start a family.
No, you wanted, yeah, because I want you to tell us the story, your amazement, the way you were expressing in that book, your meeting with your husband, your girlfriend that set up everything, and your shock.
So let's talk about how I met him. So I was working for this Greek family. I was taking care of their child who had some breathing problems. And then on the birthday of my boss, the lady, they invited me to go to a restaurant to eat with their friends. So I went there, not thinking anything. And I'd been working for these people for about 5 months. So I was glad they invited me. And where I lived was about an hour from where they live. So in that area, I didn't know anybody. It wasn't like I could go to any of my friends within 20 minutes. No. In order to go to where I live, I had to take the train. And with the train, it was about 2.5 hours. So I didn't know anybody in the area. I was glad that they invited me. And so that evening when we got to the restaurant, somebody called me. And I didn't want to answer the call in the restaurant, so I excused myself and went outside. When I got outside, the call was from somebody who was owing me money. And I was pretty upset with the person because I had, it was in February, I had given this person money and some things to give to my family for Christmas. They got the things and they didn't get the money. And when I contacted her, she told me they duped her in Nigeria, they took the money from her and all that. So when she called, and all that time I've been trying to reach her. I never got in contact with her until this very evening when she called me while I was with these people. So I went outside to take the call. So while I was talking to her on the phone, I was not very friendly with her. I let her have a piece of my tongue. That don't ever call my line again until you're ready to stop playing games and pay me my money. Just give me back my money. And then I shut down the phone. As I turned to leave, I saw this person standing there with a cigarette in his hand. I didn't say anything to him. He didn't say anything to me. He just did like that. And okay, I did that back too. You know, he nodded and I nodded back. And I went into the restaurant to meet with my friends. You can, I mean, ask me anything in between if you want.
Yes.
So I went into the restaurant. They brought our food. We were eating. When we finished eating, they decided to dance. And at that time, this beautiful lady, Cher, had just brought out her song, Do You Believe in Life After Love, something like that. And so they were dancing, and a friend of mine was also sitting there, Barbara. And we didn't go to dance, we just sat there while watching the people dancing. And at a point, the owner of the restaurant started making this announcement, congratulating my boss, and then called somebody else. And that somebody else happens to be the man I had seen outside. Okay, I saw him, but I mean, I didn't think anything of it. But when they finished the happy birthday song and all the talk, I didn't understand what they were saying because at that time, I didn't understand the Dutch language. So they finished, my madam and her husband came back to our table. And then this man came over to talk to her, to also congratulate her as a, you know, birthday co-celebrant. And he was introduced to everybody, hello, hello, hello. When he got to me, he said, I hope you're no longer angry. Hey! And I think, this man don't send me. I was thinking, what is he talking about? I recognized him as the person I saw outside, but I pretended like I didn't, So he said, I hope you're no longer, I hope you're no longer angry. I said, of course I'm not. Before I could say anything, my boss chipped in, do you two know each other? And he said, no, we don't know each other. We just met outside. Okay. Everybody started talking this and that and that. The things that said in the Dutch language, I didn't understand. So every now and then he will turn to me and say something in English, and my boss will also sometimes explain certain things to me. I was thinking, okay, we're enjoying our food and our drinks, whatever. You people can talk your own. At the end of the day, he told us he had come to, that day was his birthday also. So he had come with his friends to celebrate his birthday. Okay, we all congratulated him. Eventually, when he was leaving, he said, can I see you sometime for a drink? I thought, what is he talking about? Because I had never been, how do I say it? What I know, or what I was used to, if a man wanted to talk to you, he excused you to, can I speak to you a little bit, or can I talk to you? But this one right in front of everybody. I didn't know.
Especially for an African woman.
So before I could say
anything, and then it's a white man.
And number one is a white man.
Then
number
with cigarette in the mouth.
No, the cigarette, I didn't even remember the cigarette again this time.
And then in the presence, what concerned you was that it was in the presence of everybody.
Okay, that he spoke to me wasn't an issue. That he was white or blue didn't matter to me. But at least why didn't he talk to me when he saw me outside?
When you are alone.
He could have also talked to me outside. No, he didn't. He came inside to embarrass me and said, hi, God. So, before I could answer, my boss said something, and he said, yeah, excuse me, and he left. I'm thinking, okay. And my boss's husband, my male boss, the husband of my boss was just smiling. You know, that type of smile that you know something is
suspicious smile.
Very, very suspicious. So, before I knew what was going on, he came back again with his telephone number. Here's my phone number, this, that. I said, okay. And my boss, she said, yes, he wants to have a drink with you tomorrow. And she was looking at her husband like this. Yes, we are okay with it. I knew. I was hoping that the man would say, well, it's up to her, or no, we don't agree. She was looking at him like, it's okay, right? And he agreed. Hey, I was thinking inside my head, I mean, is this how white people behave? Is this how they are? I mean, how do you talk to a woman in front of everybody? And my boss, if he's a Nigerian boss, and my boss is even pushing everything and arranging the date. So I didn't want to look foolish. I didn't want to, how do I say that? Now, if it was part of them, or if it was customary for them, well, if it wasn't a problem for him to talk to me in front of those people, then it must be their custom, it must be their style. And if I say no, what would be my excuse? My boss had already said yes. Her husband had already said yes. So, if I now say yes, maybe these people will really see me like I'm a bush girl. I thought, you know what? Okay, no problem. So, we agreed. He told me where to meet him the next day on Sunday. But that next day, I didn't go. I didn't go to the appointment.
Why? Because you are trying to be modest, eh?
No, I don't know what happened. It was not that night. It wasn't something that was on my mind, like, oh, I'm going to meet this man tomorrow. Oh, I just have it. I don't know. Somehow I didn't feel okay with it. And the whole thing just escaped my mind. Before I even thought about it, I think it must have been in the middle of the day, because it wasn't something, I believe I said yes because I didn't want to make a fool of myself in front of those people. So when I got home, I didn't put it, as something important to me. I didn't go to the appointment, and nobody even said anything about it. They didn't ask me, oh, are you no longer going out or anything? Nobody said anything. And then the next Saturday, which was on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day, I was, that day my boss and the whole family, they were traveling, so they were going somewhere because their mother had come from Greece. And so I had a day off. That wasn't supposed to be my day off. I always had Mondays off. But this Saturday, they gave me off. So I thought, why not go to Brussels and braid my hair? I was getting ready, and then my boss came in. I heard the bell, I opened the door, and it was my boss. She said, could you come downstairs? Because she had a flower shop down just below her their house. And she said, could you come downstairs a moment? Somebody is looking for you. Somebody looking for me. I didn't know anybody there. Who could be looking for me? Or, maybe she wanted me to do something for her, or I don't know. So I was quite nervous, but it didn't cross my mind that it would be the man from the restaurant. So I got myself ready. I was ready by the time when she came in. So I just checked myself out in the mirror again and took my bag of attachments to weave my hair. And then when I opened the door of the flower shop, my heart almost jumped into my mouth. Because there he was. There he was, just smiling like, hello. I said, God, what will I do? I didn't know what to say. I didn't know. I couldn't come up with any excuse. at that moment, I couldn't come up with any excuse at all to say, oh, my chicken laid egg or anything. Nothing. I said, well, I overslept, and by the time I got there, you were gone. I know, okay, if I overslept and 2 hours later, you will not be waiting for me 2 hours. The place is not a cafe. The place we were supposed to meet is a grocery shop, and they don't open on Sunday. He asked me to meet him there because it's a popular place that everybody knows. So I knew he wasn't going to wait
for 2 hours.
There 2 hours. I said, yeah, sorry, I overslept. I'm sorry. He was like, oh, okay. But the okay, you would know you could actually say he knew I wasn't telling the truth. So, yeah, so I said, okay, well, eventually, my boss had already told him before I came down that I was on my way to Brussels.
That you have day off.
I was off. Hey! When he told me your boss said you're going to Brussels, you're off. Inside my head, I was thinking, this woman, if you were a small child, if I
find Cain.
I thought, find Cain. Because I was thinking, why is she telling him? By the way, how did he even know where to find me? How did he know where we live? When did they even discuss that? When I asked that question, how did you know where to find me? He looked at my boss. Immediately, I knew. Immediately, I knew. She did it to me again. Okay, no problem. So we left. He said he will take me to the train station. I was happy because taking the bus would have taken long, and I wanted to call a taxi. So he said, oh, there's no need to call a taxi. I'll bring you to the station. Okay, no problem. So we went outside. And when we got outside, he said, well, if you don't mind, I can take you to Brussels. I said, this matter is getting a little bit long, but okay. And I won't have to take the train. So we went to Brussels, and that's it. And from there, we went to the hairdressing place. He had asked me, how long does this hair thing take? I said, well, 4 hours, maximum 6 hours. But when I got there,
and he was ready
He
was ready to wait.
He was ready to wait.
For a man to
when
wait.
I said that to him,
he's in love for 6 hours. For a girl
in love only one day. For me. So I said, well, it will take about 4 to 6 hours. He said, okay, I will bring you. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, well, he will bring me there and maybe leave. So he said, well, I'll come in with you. He stayed playing with the woman's son. But the thing was taking so long because the woman was going, she had a new baby, and then a 3-year-old, she was going to the baby and to the son and cooking, and just, it was in her house. She was just relaxed, doing her thing. Hey, I was thinking in my head, oh God. Even at a point, I even asked him, I said, you can go, I'll come back with the tray. He said, no problem, I'll stay. I said, God help me. How do I make this man go? He didn't go. We spent 9 good hours.
Wow.
Within this hair.
9 hours.
9 hours.
And he didn't go to eat.
No, he went to buy, what did they call it? Sandwich.
Okay.
No, we ate, but it wasn't really like a decent food. It wasn't like a decent food. We bought, so he went outside to buy that, and then eventually we left, and I was still apologizing. Oh, sorry about that, no, it's nothing. And then when we got outside, occasionally he went out to smoke. So when we got outside the woman's house, I was still apologizing, and then he said, I hope you don't mind. No, I'm only afraid. I'm okay. Don't worry about it. I'm only afraid that that the restaurant I had booked, the fish restaurant I had booked, maybe they will no longer be open. I'm thinking, what is he talking about now? He said, well, I hope you don't mind. I made a reservation at a fish restaurant. I said, but how? He said, well, yeah, when we were coming, you talked about, when I asked you your favorite food, you said that and that and that. You like fish. I said, hi, God. I was tired. Haven't stayed in Brussels the whole day. Weaving my hair 9 hours. And this man sitting there waiting for me. I was already embarrassed that I had kept him all day. I was already embarrassed that, what is he? I was thinking, what is he thinking about me right now? Somebody who will spend 9 hours to weave hair and all this suffering, he just sat there, he didn't do anything, he didn't go home, he didn't have a decent meal. What is he thinking? He said, well, let me just make a quick call. He made a quick call. He said, yeah, we are in luck. The restaurant is open. I said, God. On the way, I was still saying, you know what? We could do this another day. We're both tired. I was tired, not too tired to go and eat, but I just felt simple decency. Let him go home. We can do this another day. I will not miss the appointment. But he said no, he wanted to have dinner with me. So I said, okay. And then we went, and from there, everything went from there.
Wow. What a story. And it made you to move over, right?
Yes. That happened 2 weeks after, about 10 days after I met him. I got a call from where I lived that I was supposed to come to the police station because I had moved from where I was living. And whenever you move, you have to report to the municipal police, to report the new address. So I had moved, I'd made that report, but they will have to come to the house and check that the person is actually living there. But when they came, I was working. So they left a letter for me to go to their office. So I called him and told him that, look, I'll be going to Brussels. He said, okay. And when I came back that evening, he was asking me, he said, why did the police need to see you? I told him the reason, not that he thinks I'm one criminal or something. So I told him the story, look, this is what happened. And he goes, he's driving, eh? But do you really need the house? I said, no. How do you mean, do I really need the house? I do, because I stayed there when I'm not working. I only stay in this place when I'm working. When I'm not working, when I'm free, when I'm on holidays, I stay in my room in Brussels. He said, well, you don't need it. You don't have to go there. You can come and stay with me. I'm like, hello? What is that about? He said, no, that way you won't have to go to Brussels. You won't have to keep that room. But it was said in such a casual manner that I didn't take it seriously.
But as a born-again Christian, they have taught you in Nigeria you don't do that, isn't it? Or you are not thinking about that at that time?
No, at that moment, I have to be honest. At that moment, I wasn't thinking about the born-again side. I was thinking, you see, this book, I decided to write it as honest as I could, to just show it real as it is. At that moment, I wasn't thinking about the born-again side. I was thinking, the image I have in my head, before you ask somebody to move in with you, that person, you would have had a relationship, long relationship, talked about what you want to do with your life, or where you're going with your relationship. We haven't had any of those kind of talks. 10 days. It's just 10 days. I met him 10 days. So I'm thinking, this man, this will be fool. So I didn't say anything. I asked him, I said, what, you mean I have to, okay, you want me to stay with you so that no, you want me to stay with you so that I don't have to, I wouldn't need my room anymore. He said, no. That's not the reason I want you to stay with me. I mean, I enjoy your company. The days you stay where you work, I don't like it. You just, no, I want to spend more time with you. We could get married.
Finish.
I was not excited. I mean, I was not excited like somebody had just proposed to me. I was thinking, is he for real? I mean, he's driving. Yeah, we could get married. This was not how I imagined somebody would propose to me. He was driving and he just said, no, I want to spend time with you. I love you. No, he didn't say I love you. He said, I enjoy your company. Well, no, you can come and stay with me. We can get married. It didn't make sense to me. It honestly didn't make sense to me because, I mean, it's not something, I've never seen anything like that, not even in a movie. So I didn't take him seriously. Honestly, I didn't take him seriously. I wasn't thinking about the born again part, but just the whole thing seemed too, I don't know, too unrealistic. So we went over to his place because we have to pass his place before going to my where I lived. So we talked and ate. He had cooked. And when we finished, he went back to that story again. I didn't really want to go into it much because what is there to talk about? I know this person not even 2 weeks. So I went back to my boss's place, and when I got home and told my boss that, look, this is what this man said to me. Oh, if you see, I hope that a movie comes out of this. She was so excited as if she was the one who got the proposal. Hey, really? Oh my God! Oh, my God! I didn't know. I mean, and I didn't know how to take it. I didn't know how to deal with it. I like writing things when I'm like every day when I go through my day. At the end of the day, if I need to,
like a diary.
If I need to unstress, if I need to, I just write. I like to put things down. But when he did this, I didn't know exactly what to write because it looked like an unrealistic story. It didn't look real to me. And my boss was on my neck. She was on my case. So what are you going to tell him? So what are you going to do? So what are you going to do that? I didn't know what to answer her because those were questions that I didn't know myself. So that whole week was not really a fun week for me. Thinking back about it, it was not such a fun week for me because I was wondering what am I going to say to this person, and I felt I didn't believe him. But slowly with time, I got to know that he was serious. And 21 years later, we are in it. We are still in it. Yeah, 10 days. After 10 days.
You jumped to 21 years later.
Yes, 21 years later, we are still here. Yes.
But when you moved to his place,
yes,
as a typical African lady, you are expecting to get pregnant and all that.
Yes.
But
yes,
that is not a big problem to a European. But for you,
for him, as a typical African lady, when you get married, the obvious thing will be, okay, we are planning a family. We talked about it. What do you want? How are we going? I mean, at this time, it was no longer we got married after 8 months. And in those 8 months, okay, we had time to talk. I invited my pastor over. That was also
that
a
is
very
another.
moment.
I remember that in the book. But let them buy the book and read about that one.
Yes,
because
yes.
because the shock you are, I mean, and the fear also that your pastor is coming to meet you, and then in the house, in a man's house, and you are not married,
Yes.
and you are
Yes.
living there. So that is another drama. But
Yes.
let them read the
So
book.
it's true, you're right. Let them read the book. So the obvious thing was for us to have, begin to have children, but that didn't work. So I thought, okay, well, tomorrow it will be, next month it will be, and it kept lingering on until a point where I think after 4 years that I had my first child, but in all the years before that, it was a constant doctor's visit from one fertility doctor to another, changing from one to another.
So now we have started the scars stories.
Yes.
So the first scar was the barrenness or childlessness.
Barrenness, yes.
But he was there. He was telling you it's not a big deal. Forget about it.
Yes, he was. But I had lived with this person to know that I am a worrier. I worry about things. Little things make me worried, but not worried to the point where I'll think, oh my God, I'm going to die. No, it worries me, and then I look for a solution. So I felt helpless that I couldn't find a solution to this problem.
But in the book, you could see that you are also concerned. Why is he not worried? Does it mean that he doesn't love me? He doesn't want children? Why is he not worried? You want him to be worried like yourself.
Yes, because in the African setting, when you get married and 1 year, 2 years, no child, the woman begins to get scared. The family of the man begins to beat her or call her a man and different kinds of things. And this one is not even saying anything. He's just saying, oh, honey, it's okay. Don't worry about it. If you know if there's a problem, if we can't get a child, we can go to Africa and adopt a child. Even maybe one of your sister's children, we can bring them here. And I'm thinking, but why is he not bothered? Because a typical African man, would have, asked me, what is going on? Did you have an abortion when you were a young girl? Did you do this when you were a young girl? And a lot of, guilt tripping me is all my fault, especially because we had done the tests and it turned out that the problem was with me. So the guilt was eating me up. He wasn't, if he was getting angry and at least showing, how do I say it, a bit of concern, maybe not angry with me, but at least worried, like, what are we going to do about this? No, I was the one that was worried. He was always, no, don't worry about it. It will come good. It will come good. 1 year, 2 years. It will come good. It will. 1 year, 2 years. It will come good. It will come good. So, apart from thinking about my situation, I was also worried. Does he love me? But everything pointed to the fact that he loved me. The things I wanted to do, he did with me. He didn't argue about things. He didn't, even foolish things that I might suggest. Even before we got married, my sister was trying to come over. He jumped in and helped and did everything to make sure that she came to Belgium. So for me, what he was doing, the way he was behaving around me, the way he was treating me, showed me he loved me. But the fact that he wasn't crying like me, he wasn't feeling the pain, at least I thought so, that he wasn't feeling the pain, he wasn't moody. That part of it I couldn't understand. And I wanted him to be moody like me. I wanted him to cry every month. Oh, no, I'm not pregnant this month. I wanted... Yeah, I wanted him to, but he wasn't. So that didn't make me feel okay. It didn't make me feel okay. So we continued with the doctors from one hospital to another. And apart from the fact that he wasn't worried about it, apart from the fact that it was my fault, there was also the financial aspect of it. Every month, every of those appointments was costing money, because everywhere I went, they will ask me to do all the tests that I had done with the other doctor.
All
I would
over
do it again. Everything that I had done with the other doctor, I would do again. And for him, it would be because one of the first doctors I went to, his appointment with everybody would be at 7:30. He would take me there. Sometimes he took a day off, sometimes he didn't. I'll go with the boss. At that time, I wasn't driving. And if I come home and the bills come, there's no problem. He paid, no problem. And I'm thinking, but where I come from, they say a woman, when you marry a wife, and even the Bible says that your life is supposed to get better when you get married. But this man's own is...
That his life is more complicated, eh?
Getting even more complicated. I'm spending his money, and I'm not spending it on clothes. I'm not spending it on jewelries. I'm spending it on doctors. So that made me feel very, very guilty. Very, very guilty in the beginning. And eventually we decided that, okay, well, since it wasn't happening, well, we're going to adopt a child. We started making arrangements for that. Even though they told us it would take a long time, it was going to take a lot of money. He said, okay. And in my head, I'm thinking, but doesn't he have any other word than okay? At least one time say, no, I don't want to do this one. You know, people pray for their husband not to, how do I say it? Not to say no to. But there was a point where I was thinking, at least let him just say no to one thing that I want. Because I say, let's go to this one, he will say, oh. Let's go to the other one, okay. Eh? And when I come home, and every time I went to those doctor's appointments, and I'll come home, and I'll be moody, I'll be sad. He'll be there, 100%. A lot of it didn't make sense to me. I allowed that African woman in me to keep me in guilt instead of actually enjoying what I had. Maybe if I had, slowed my system down and just enjoyed myself, maybe I would have gotten pregnant earlier. I don't know. But I kept worrying about what I shouldn't have worried about.
That worry itself was killing you.
It was killing me, but at the time, now I know. At the time, I didn't know. At the time, I felt like, okay, worrying will make him know that I'm serious. But I wasn't helping anybody. I wasn't helping myself. So where did we go from there? Eventually, I got pregnant after 4 years, going to 5 years. I got pregnant. And then the war started. Almost every week, I was bleeding. From the day I got the result that I was pregnant, till the day my daughter was born, I was bleeding. From the day I got the news around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Around 6, I started bleeding.
But there was a time you had the impression that you had lost the baby.
Yes. There was a time, one of the biggest ones, that was actually the very first big one. The other ones were just spottings. I think it was, the first time was just small blood. And then this very day, I had a big clot of blood. And for me, it was, I wasn't even 2 months pregnant or even 1 month pregnant. So obviously that was my baby. That was what I thought. And then we went to the hospital, and they said it was not like that. But at first, when I got to the hospital, they wanted to just clean me up so that I could go home. Because the amount of blood that I had lost, the doctor was sure 100% that
the baby had
the
come
baby
out.
was good. Yes.
Even
so
you were thinking the baby had come out.
I was 100% sure that the baby was that the baby came out at home before going to the hospital. I wasn't expecting them to do anything, but I wanted them to at least to treat me, at least to get some treatment. So when I got there, he said, well, we are going to look and we're going to examine you, and if the baby is no longer there, we would have to clean you up, do a D&C so that to prepare your womb for whatever. In my mind, maybe, I don't know how I even remembered what he said, but in my mind, he felt like he was speaking Arabic. Why is he explaining all these things to me? Why can't he just clean me up and let me go? I knew the baby was gone, at least in my head. But then they prepared me and said, okay, let's go and do the ultrasound. And then I heard him say something in Dutch like, it's impossible. That cannot be. I didn't look at them. I didn't care what they were saying. My husband was there holding my hand.
You were so depressed already.
I just wanted to go home. I just wanted to go home and think what next, because this one is gone, it's gone. What's the point of sitting here and making conversation? That's me. If something happens, I don't like now dwelling on it and making discussions. What's the point? It's gone, it's gone. Clean me up. What next? I go home. If I have to cry, I cry. If I have to, I don't know what to do, but this milk is spilled. Why are we discussing it? It's gone, it's gone. So let me just go home and, is he mourning? Is he crying? Whatever it was, I needed time to I just needed to go away from that place. So, but when he said the baby was still there, I didn't really jump up in excitement, because how was that? Eventually, I looked. He said, look at the screen. And I looked at the screen. The whole place was black. And there was this tiny white dot in the middle. And he said, well, that's your baby's heart. And the thing was making ticking. And I'm looking at all this black thing. What is that? He said, well, what you see there is all blood. It's all blood. And I'm wondering how. I mean, I've never had an ultrasound before. But it didn't look like how it should be. So he told me, he said, well, I don't know why. I don't know why it is like that. I have not seen that before. But what we need to do, you go on bed rest, just lie down, don't do anything, don't lift anything. I said, okay. And he gave me a prescription that I should be taking. And my husband was helping me with everything. I wasn't, carrying anything. I wasn't doing anything. But still, at least every fortnight, I must end up in hospital. Every fortnight, I must end up till the baby was born.
Bleeding.
Just bleeding. And it wasn't like, small. No. Heavy bleeding. And at the end of the day, I will go there. They will tell me it's nothing. The baby is still there. And each time I went there, the blood had started clearing. Normal places were already coming out, but she was surrounded with blood till I gave birth to her. I didn't know how.
For 9 months, you were bleeding.
For 9 months, I was bleeding. And the worst was that the doctor couldn't tell me, this is the reason you're bleeding. Maybe you're drinking, maybe you are smoking, maybe there is a hole somewhere. They didn't know where the blood was coming from, why the blood was coming. But the baby was just intact. There was nothing wrong with the baby, but that blood was just around the baby. And the baby was right in the middle of the pool of blood. So eventually she was born. She was tiny little thing. And from there we moved on with
She
our
was born a
lives.
little bit earlier.
No, it was my second daughter
That was born
born a bit
earlier.
early.
Okay.
Yes, it was my second daughter. Do we jump to her, or do you want to know something else?
Yeah. Well, I think, you could talk about your second child. No,
Okay.
before the second child, you had a whole drama now. Before you could even get pregnant for the second time.
Okay. Yeah. It was after my first daughter was born. We were obviously very happy with it, with her, and we continued our lives. And after a while, we decided, okay, well, we want to have another child. And we started trying again, and eventually, I went back to my Asian doctor. May he so rest in peace. The man is now dead. So we went back to him, and he checked me, did everything. Slowly, I got pregnant again. And I was, when I was pregnant with my first daughter, I didn't really, how do I say it? I was looking good, but I was looking good like a pregnant woman. But with the twins, I was really glowing. When I got pregnant, I was very happy. And when the first ultrasound, it turned out to be 2 hearts beating. When he told me, he said, I see 2 hearts. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what we were overjoyed. 2? Okay, no problem. It was going well. It was going well, very well. I was having occasional stottings, but no big bleeding. And I was looking great. I was, then my skin was, nothing was wrong with me. Just that occasional spotting wasn't really a big deal. Well, I had already been through it. I had a child with heavy bleeding. This one, I wasn't really bleeding. Around 20 weeks, one day, I was home here, and my sister called me, and we were talking. And suddenly, I was in the toilet, and suddenly I felt, when I stood up, I felt something go out of my body. So I told my sister something was wrong. Let me call you back. I looked, I couldn't explain what was going on. I didn't have pain, I didn't have anything, I wasn't feeling anything. So I called my husband. And when my husband walked, was about 5 minutes from the house. So he came home and took me to the hospital. When I got there, they checked. The first hospital, the nearest hospital we went to, they told me, that I wasn't in labor, and no problem. I then went straight to my doctor. By the time I got there, they checked, they did everything. It turned out that the water of one of the twins had broken. And I was just 5 months pregnant. So I was thinking in my head, well, maybe there was something they could do. They did everything they could. I stayed there, praying and casting and bounding and doing everything I knew how to do. Praying and calling everybody I knew to pray. Yet nothing happened. The next morning, around 5 a.m., I went to labor. And around 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon, my second daughter was born. She was not stillborn. She was still alive. And I remember when they gave her to me, she lifted her hand and put it like this on herself. and then she stopped breathing.
In your arms?
In my arms. And she stopped breathing. I didn't feel pain. I don't know. It was like it was not happening to me. I knew it was happening, but it felt like it wasn't happening to me.
You are numb.
Yes. It felt like it wasn't happening to me, and I still had hope. I was thinking, okay, well, only one water broke, so the other one is still there. So no problem if it's only one. Well, but then the doctor told me they were going to induce me. I refused.
So that the other one will come out.
So that the other one will come out, because he had already consulted with other professors and they told him the other one will not stay. But I had heard people who said they lost one baby and then the other one stayed. But the way they were arranged on top of each other. So the one that broke was down, and the moment she left, there was a hole underneath that the other one couldn't just stay up there hanging. It had to come down. But I believed, well, my God will do it. I was throwing all kinds of prayers and calling everybody I could. Eventually, 5 hours, 10 hours, nothing happened. I said, yes, I knew. I knew my God had done it. I had hope until the next morning. I started, throughout that night, I didn't sleep. I knew something was wrong. But I didn't want to believe it. I just wanted to, hope.
But they had told you, according to the book, they had told you that they have to induce the second one or they will lose you too.
Yes.
Or you could lose your life in the process.
Yes. The doctor told me that trying to kill the other baby was just risking my own life. That there was no way the baby was going to survive. So the best thing would be to induce the baby, induce me, and then let the baby come out so I can have my own life, that I could die if I didn't agree. But I was 100%, believing that it will happen, and if God said it will happen, it must happen, and this and that. I was, declaring all kinds of declarations.
Yeah, because you are a mother. That's what normal mother will do.
So eventually, I didn't, at a point when the pain became unbearable, I knew there was nothing I could do. They were already feeling the baby. The baby was already sticking out. Yeah, so in my mind I was thinking maybe there was something, they could do to push it back. I knew there was no way they could push it back. So they were still, trying to comfort me. But at a time, I just felt this peace. I was no longer afraid, in panic, I was going to lose the baby or anything. I wasn't in panic. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't feeling anything. All I wanted them to do was to love the baby. And I really, really, really wanted to sleep. I started feeling so sleepy. And for me, they needed to pull out the baby, and I was yelling at them, please pull out the baby, so I can sleep. At the time, I didn't know it, but my doctor was, squeezing my hand. He was squeezing my hand and trying to hit me and squeeze my hand. I thought in my head, well, what is wrong with this man? Why is he hurting me? But I didn't know until, because the last baby, even though he was so tiny, even though they were already seeing him, he didn't really just come out. You expect, okay, he's so small, it should just come out easily. But it didn't. It took a long time. They were asking me to push, but it wasn't coming. But they could see that it was already out, but it wasn't really coming out, and I don't know why. So eventually, the baby came out, and they gave him to me. He also was not stillborn. They gave him to me. He stayed a little while, and that was it. And I thought my own world was
But you didn't tell us what was happening, why they were squeezing your hand, because what, yeah.
Yes. The reason they were squeezing my hand, according to the doctor, when I went back for control, he told me that I wasn't falling asleep. I thought I was falling asleep. I needed to sleep. But he told me that if they had allowed me to sleep, I would not have woken up. So
it was your spirit
sleeping,
trying to go out of your body.
Yes, I was sleeping into death, and I thought I was, going to sleep. But I was sleeping away. They were losing me, and I was thinking I was going to fall asleep. I thought, okay, well, I am so tired. In my head, I felt it was because I was tired, but I was dying, and I didn't know. And I was angry with him for hurting me. After the delivery, 2 weeks after, my fingers were still, paining me because he was trying to hurt me. He was doing everything, telling my husband, don't make her sleep, don't allow her to sleep, don't allow her to sleep. But at that moment, I thought he was being cruel. But later he explained to me that I was actually dying. I wasn't falling asleep. And that if they had allowed me to fall asleep, and that would have been it.
This book, Purposed Beyond My Scars. I've always been asking myself, because all these tragedies and all these traumas that you had, which one is the scar? And I think maybe it's the losing of the twins, but which one is the scar that you are referring to yourself? That really, all of them are equally significant, or there is the scars that you are referring to?
All of them are equally significant. The first one, the biggest of them, is losing 2 children in one day. Having to give away 2 children in one day. That's for me, the biggest of the scars. The scar on my face is intense, is big, but the biggest of the scars, because when the one on my face happened, I was devastated, but not as devastated as I was when I lost the twins. Because we had prepared everything. Our life was going good. We were in a good place. And just having to give them away, walking into that hospital and coming out empty-handed was the biggest thing that ever.
Without not just one child, but without 2 children.
Without 2 children.
In one day.
In one day.
Losing 2 children in one day.
Yes. Without explanation. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do anything. Without explanation. Till tomorrow.
But also the barrier, to let them go, the barrier and everything, that's another trauma.
It was not a good period for me. It was not a good, that if I had to rate everything that happened to me, that is not probably, that was the biggest. That was the biggest.
But you are already having your daughter now.
But if I didn't get pregnant at all, and I didn't have, those expectations, I would have been okay with having just her.
Okay, what about if you had not been pregnant at all, even without the first, because you also had a lot of trauma when you couldn't be pregnant at all the first 4 years.
Yes, the first 4 years, yes, I was.
So is that not, is childlessness not more traumatic than losing?
Yeah, I had never really
because you said that beyond any doubt. You said beyond any doubt.
Yes, beyond any doubt, I believe that you cannot miss something you never had. You can't miss something you never had. If I didn't get pregnant at all, at first I was unhappy. about not getting pregnant. And then we decided to adopt a child from Africa. And for me, that at that point, things were going better, because if we had succeeded in making the applications and getting a child, somehow, something, maybe not 100%, but something would have been, how do I say it? It would have gotten to a place where I would learn to love the child that we had adopted. It may not be the same thing as giving birth to my own child, but that for me would have been a solution. That the barrenness had a solution. Childlessness had a solution. I could have adopted and loved that child. But losing 2 children in one day had no solution. There was nothing I could do. There was nothing anybody could do. No, losing the children was by far worse than not getting pregnant at all. Now that I think about it, I've never considered the two, but putting them side by side, no. My inability to get pregnant had a solution. Either adopting a child or going to counseling and learning to live, because I've seen people who don't have children. Some people adopt and some choose to live like that. It may not be the most, I don't know, let me not say fulfilling. It may not be exactly what they want, but at least that scar of having it and losing it is that something you don't have. You can't miss it. If I never got pregnant, I wouldn't miss it. But this one, I got pregnant. This one, I prepared. We did everything. We worked towards it.
But some people will say, what do you have to miss? Because you didn't live with them yet. You didn't invest in them by sending them to nursery, primary school, secondary school. They didn't grow up so that you could say they are growing up to become, I've seen them, she was 10 years old, he was 20 years old, that I'm losing them. There's nothing to miss. You didn't see the way they were walking, you didn't see the way they were eating, the way they were talking, to say you are missing them now. Is it not the first day you miss them?
No. It's impossible to. Now, this is a pregnancy that I had carried for about 5 months. I have felt them. I had planned for them. In my head, it's easy for someone to say, like you said, well, you didn't see the child. You didn't know the child. But when your dreams, because sometimes we plan things and they don't work out, and then we get devastated. And people say, but you didn't do that thing, so why are you devastated? In my mind, in my head, in my family, we had so much plans. We had, I don't know how to say it, an idea of where we were going, what we wanted to do. This was a pregnancy. It wasn't like now some women, all they have to do is look at their husband and they are pregnant. This is a pregnancy that took me how long to get? It wasn't like I got pregnant so easily. And then to get it was better if I didn't get pregnant with the twins at all. For me, it would have been better if I didn't get pregnant with them at all. And then I knew, okay, I have one child. I learned to love my one child, and we do what we need to do with our lives. But we were preparing for this. We were doing everything we could, preparing for this expansion in our family, preparing for, a life with our children. We already chose names. We already made up the rooms and bought things, all double. And then eventually, these dreams just shattered right in front of my eyes. And I didn't do anything to contribute to why it happened. Because if I did something wrong, if maybe I smoked or took drugs or drank alcohol, somewhere I would have found a place to say, well, you did that. You shouldn't have done it. Okay? But I didn't do anything. I was taking care of myself. I was looking much better than I looked when I was pregnant with my first daughter. So I don't know whether somebody who had trained a child, I don't know how they feel, because I've never been there and I pray not to be there. But for me, losing two of them meant, it was devastating for me. It will not be the same thing for somebody else who had seen the child, but for me, I had images in my head. I had plans in my head. So that's how I felt. Yeah.
Because from the book, I mean, you almost went mad from the depression. You know, the book was very dramatic.
I almost lost myself, because I didn't like I said before, I didn't understand why it happened.
And with that kind of depression you were having, you could have lost your husband, if not because it's a strong man and a man that loved you. You know, some men could have just given up because you couldn't even acknowledge him or appreciate him at that point.
No. I was just in that morning, at least for the first, it didn't take long, but for that short period, I was just in a place where I didn't know I could come out from. I didn't want to put myself there.
In a place of sorrow.
Yes, I didn't want to put myself there. Not that I was home crying every day, but I was just numb. I wasn't, many times I wasn't really feeling anything. I was just there. A lot of times I was just there. I wasn't really feeling like, oh no. Many times I just sat there.
What will you tell women? What will you tell women that are passing through similar things right now?
Don't lock yourself up. Now, first of all, beginning with women who are going through infertility.
Okay, let's start with that one.
Yes, because women who are going through infertility, you get married and you don't get pregnant when you want to get pregnant. First of all, understand that even if you go to the doctor and they say the fault is from you or from your husband, know one thing, that it is not your fault. Even though they say it is your body that has the problem, it's still not your fault, because nobody on their own decides, you know what, I'm going to destroy my womb so that I don't get pregnant. But it does that. So even if they say it's your body, it's still not your fault. The guilt is the first thing that kills a person. A woman who is dealing with infertility, the guilt is the first thing, especially if they say the fault is from her. So learn not to blame yourself. Learn to enjoy your husband. If your husband is a supportive one, learn to enjoy your husband, and don't make that infertility your God. Because it consumed my life. At a point, it was all I could think about. I want to get pregnant. I want to get pregnant. And everywhere you go, everything you do, all you see is pregnancy, pregnancy. Everything you think about. When there is a movie, you see a woman with pregnancy. Anything you do, anywhere you go, don't allow it to become your God. Learn to. Now, your husband is your teammate. Your husband is not the enemy, because in my own case, there was a point where I was getting angry with my husband for nothing. If he smoked a cigarette, because I was studying, I was studying what can prevent pregnancy. What can I do to enhance my chances? I saw things like don't eat this, don't eat that, don't drink that, don't do this, don't do that. And I started doing those things at home. Everything they say don't do, it was not happening in my house. And then my husband, if he smokes, trouble. If he drinks a bottle of beer, trouble. I'll be watching him like a hawk. I don't want him to smoke. I don't want him to drink, because the doctors said, and everything I had read points to the fact that when you are dealing with infertility, these are things you should stay away from.
So you are thinking maybe it's because he's doing this or because he's doing that?
No, I didn't think it was because of that. I was thinking, already my body is not okay, like from the test. So if he also begins to spoil his own, then so I didn't want a situation where, okay, now we have two things. One is not functioning very well, and the one that is functioning, you want to spoil that one too. So I didn't want that. I wanted him, okay, while I was taking hormones, I was trying to also, make myself okay. And you are taking the things they said on the internet and everywhere that is against. I mean, if you want to get pregnant, don't do this, don't do that. So don't make, your husband is your teammate. And if it is your wife that has the problems, she is your teammate. She's not the enemy. Instead of blaming her, now I bring this to our African setting. Because in most cases, then the family of the man will come and send the woman out or insult her, or people come and insult her. No. If the problem is with your wife, she is your teammate. She's your team, she's your teammate. She's not the opposition. She's not the person you're playing against. No, you're supposed to work together.
And she's not the problem. She's not the problem also.
No, she's not the problem. She's not the problem. It happened. If it's something she did by herself, like, okay, maybe she's taking cocaine and taking hair, then you look for a solution. But look for it together. Now, many of the things that happened to me, especially during, not a particular one, but almost in all the cases, part of the reasons I was able to, somehow pull out of a lot of them is because I had people supporting me. If in that my situation, somebody was also telling me how I was worthless, how I was useless, how my body was not good, I think that I would have gone into the depression before, getting pregnant. And that would also help me not to even get pregnant or prevent me from getting pregnant. So what would I say to somebody that is going through barrenness or childlessness right now? It's not your fault. It's not your fault. And your husband or your wife, if it is from the man, if it is from the woman, you are teammates. Don't fight against each other because you are in the same team. You have to remain in the same team. Otherwise, you're just going to go crazy.
What about for those who lost their child or their children, like you did?
Yes. For those who lost their children, one of the things I did, because I think a week after we got home from the hospital, I received a CD with the pictures of it was a video CD with the twins. When I saw that, I kept watching it over and over and over again. My husband was not happy with it. He told me, "You're just killing yourself, don't do that." But in my head, I needed to believe that this thing is true, that it actually happened to me. I needed to believe it because it didn't look real. I needed to see for real that it happened. I didn't, right from time, I'm not just talking about situations like this, but I have never really been someone who likes to hide or live see the world with these pink glasses. I'm a realist. I face reality. And I wanted to face that reality. I wanted to see for real that.
But it's one time not enough.
It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me because after one time, the first day, the Thursday, I cried till I thought I was going to maybe get blind, or I don't know.
Yeah,
Then
because,
with time,
because by watching it like that, you are really killing yourself. Your husband was right.
I was now, but I think, God forbid, so I don't think I was killing myself. I think that it was a kind of a therapy for me. I needed to deal with it. I really needed to deal with it.
Can you put it the way you put it before?
Okay. I don't know what happened.
No, let it stand without you holding it.
Just a second. Sorry about that.
Okay. You need to. Okay, while you are fixing that, I will make some announcements.
Okay, please.
So this is the book here, and it's called Purposed Beyond My Scars. We have not gone through all the scars yet, because we have not even discovered why our face is like that, and we are still going to talk about that. Then I have my other books too. My latest book is this one, Kingdom of Sons. It's on sales on Amazon. You can get it for $3 something. So you can go and look for it and can buy it before the price goes up. And all my other books also, you can get them on Amazon. And concerning losing children and barrenness, I have a message that is called The Blessings of Barrenness and Disability. It's a video on YouTube. I want to encourage that also for people who had miscarriage and who lost their children and who might be barren. Please go and look for that message. The blessings of barrenness and disability. And also for people who lost their loved ones. You know, I wrote a book. It's called Why Do Good People Die Early and Tragic Death? And so that is the one where the picture of Miles Monroe was there, where the book that I dedicated to Miles Monroe. That book also will be able to be a blessing to you. And there are a lot of other messages like that when I was speaking about Miles Monroe and his death, that will be of consolation to a lot of you. But Purposed Beyond My Scars, Amanda's book, you can find on the internet. So Amanda,
Yes,
so for people who lost their child, any other thing you want to say to them?
Yes, I would say deal with it. Don't go in denial. Don't behave like it didn't happen. Don't pretend like it didn't happen. Talk about it. And family members, if you have nothing to say, don't say anything at all. If you have nothing reasonable to say, don't say anything at all. Because sometimes our African people or human beings, sometimes they feel like, well, I need to say something. And then sometimes they just say the silliest thing. If you are sure, or if you are not sure that what you're going to say will be of any help to the person, just be there and listen to them. Just be there. Just let them know. You may not even need to say anything. Just let them know that I am here for you if you need me. I had a lot of that.
Church people too now.
Yes.
You wrote a bit about that in your book also.
Yes. They will tell you, we must pray about it, or the Lord must do it. He must. But maybe that's not what the person needs at that time. I like the part of the faith. I want us to, to have faith. But sometimes we take it too far. Sometimes we take it too far. After I lost the twins, okay, let me just finish with, don't be in denial. Talk about it. Go to a therapist. There are groups. You might be surprised. There are groups on the internet and in different places that you can join. People who have gone through the same thing. You join support groups. You hear people talk about their experience, how they dealt with their situations. It may help you, it may not help you, but at least hearing that other people have gone through the same thing, which is part of the reasons I decided to write this book. Because someone is somewhere thinking, oh, my world is over. And then you read this book and then you see this person's problem. Oh, if she can get through that, then I can get through my own. Join support groups. Talk about your situation. Talk about it with your family. Because if you hide it under the carpet, one day somebody talks about it. The whole morning spirit comes back again. In the African setting, we tend to hide things. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to touch it. Oh, something will happen. Oh, something will happen. Nothing will happen. White people talk about their issues. So learn to talk about your problem, not to every person. But there must be some people in your life that you trust, some people in your life who mean something to you, that won't just be there to, ask you foolish questions, but that will be there to listen to you, even if they don't say anything to you.
But that was not the end of your scars.
No.
I know you have a second child, a second daughter, but that was a whole process of scars as well.
Yes. When I got pregnant with my daughter, my second daughter now, I couldn't really enjoy that pregnancy because from day one, I didn't believe there was a human being living inside of me. Because
can you move a bit to your right? No, the other side.
Like
yeah, that's
yes.
Good now. Good, fine.
Okay. So after I gave birth to the twins, after that incident where I decided that I wasn't going to allow my situation to kill me. And why did I do that? I think 2 weeks after I lost the twins, I didn't see my husband cry. I didn't see him. I know he was sad. I didn't see him cry. I didn't see him. I mean, he was just, his own interest was just to take care of me, giving me painkillers, making sure I had my medications, making sure, I was okay. I please eat something, all those kind of things, just nursing me. But I didn't really see him
mourning
like me, shedding tears. No. Till one day I met him in the kitchen. I came down, he didn't know I was coming down. And he was in the kitchen, sobbing. I mean, not crying, that type of thing where a child had cried for a long and is going, that.
Sobbing.
Yeah. And I couldn't take it. A grown-up man. And he was in the kitchen alone. He thought I was sleeping. And so after I spoke to him about it, after we talked, I went to the kitchen and I saw that. I realized that he was just, he said, what was going on? It was like all this time, all his pains, my own pains assimilated his own. He took over his own. So that he didn't even give himself a chance to mourn. He didn't have a chance to feel, because he was feeling for me. He didn't want to cry because if he cried, then I'll cry more. So that day, I think it must have been too much for him. I don't know whether he did it other times, but that was the first time that I saw that. And it finished me. And we both cried together, cried to the point that we fell asleep. So eventually he went to pick my daughter, and when my daughter came home that day, I made a decision. The mourning period for me was not a long time. It was not 2 months, but the short period it was intense. And from that day that I made that decision, after we cried together, and when my daughter came home, just the way she flew into my arms when she came home with my husband, it was like something fell out of my eyes, that you are allowing a life you wish you could have to rob you of the one that you have. Not the one you're dreaming of, the one that you already have. So I made up my mind that, no. Will I ever be sad again? Of course. Do I still get sad now? Yes. But I wasn't going to allow. Now, look at this person. My husband lost his mother when he was 2 years old. And now, with all that is happening, our daughter was 4 at the time. So if I died, that would be a repeat of the same thing that happened to him. Then the same thing will happen to my daughter. Because for me, it won't be, for him, it won't just be losing his wife. The pain of losing his wife will be there. But the trauma of when he was a child will also come back. So after he spoke to me that he told me his mind that, look, he's afraid of losing me, that I know what happened to him, this and that and that. We cried. And then eventually, when my daughter came home, I made up my mind that I wasn't going to allow the life I was dreaming of, the life I wanted to have, to rob me of the one that I had. And so slowly, it didn't happen just that day that I suddenly became, oh, we're going to party. No. It took some time. I was taking it one day at a time. But slowly, we began to heal, all of us. My husband, myself, my daughter, we began to heal slowly, our family. Slowly, we began to put our life in order. And then, before I got pregnant with my second child, I was having this very serious stomach pain that each time it started, it would feel like I was going to die. And then it would just stop like that. I'd gone to Nigeria to take herbs. I did everything possible, and this wasn't going away. So when I got pregnant with my second daughter, I was not happy. Not that I was not happy, I was scared. Because after the loss of the twins, I think 2 years after that, I went to see another doctor. It was then they now told me, well, that I had half a womb, that my womb was half. The right part of my womb was closed. I don't know why, that there was just, you could just see
and they explained that is why you had those complications with the first daughter.
It was then I knew that was why my first daughter was very small, and the second one, that was why they couldn't
they
stay,
couldn't
because there was
survive.
no space.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and they said, well, you can't have another child, we'll have to remove the womb. But I asked them why. They said, well, they needed to know what was inside. I said, okay, but is there HIV inside? They said, no. Is there cancer inside? They said, no. Okay. If there's nothing like that inside, but I didn't just say it like that. After I asked them the question, I was terrified, because what is the meaning of this one? I knew before then about the narrowness, about the fact that my uterus was narrow. But my former gynecologist told me it was not a problem. So when these ones told me they needed to remove my womb, I said no. My husband told me, well, whatever you decide, I will support you. I told him, well, if you're going to support me with the fact that we are not going to do this. He said, okay. So when I got pregnant with my second daughter, it was not possible for me to believe that a human being was living inside me. Till we started going for the test, and okay, it was happening. But to tell you the truth, I had faith, I believed, and I was declaring everything declarable. But somewhere, far, far away, I was thinking in my head, I saw legs, I saw hands, and they didn't come home with me. This one is just heart I saw beating. This one, okay, next week, 2 months, 3 months. In my head, every day that I woke up and that I didn't bleed, I was counting my days. And instead of glowing like a pregnant woman, I was losing weight. My hair was just removing from the roots. My fingernails were breaking. I was looking, naturally, I'm a very fair person. But then I became dark by force. There was no sun, but I wasn't looking like a human being. I was losing weight, losing myself instead of being happy. Just out of fear. I was scared that, what is the possibility of me taking this child home? Until about 7 months, almost 7 months, I went to the hospital. At this time, after the 6th month, I was very happy because when I lost the twins, they told me that if they had been 6 months or almost 7 months, there would have been a chance for them to, be incubated and all that. So after 5 months, I was happy. 6 months plus, I was happy. Until the appointment I had after 6 months plus, almost 7 months. The doctor told me my baby was not growing. Okay. At least I wasn't bleeding. So I was still hopeful. Maybe we changed diet. Maybe I told her, no, it's no problem. My first daughter was 2.5 kilos, so it's not a problem. It's just my body, blah, blah, blah. And she said, sorry, that's not what I'm talking about. I thought, oh, again. And it turned out that I had pregnancy poison. I thought it was something I ate, something I drank, something, I don't know. But it turned out that it wasn't anything I ate. It was just too much protein in my blood. And that was suffocating the baby. So the baby was not growing, and they needed to induce me for the baby to come out. And they kept me in the hospital for 1 full month to see whether there was something they could give me, something they could do for the baby to start growing. And they were monitoring me every day, doing tests, checking everything. Eventually, after a month, they said there was no change. The baby was not growing. So the best thing, they decided to induce me. And they did. And my daughter was born premature. I spent 1 month in the hospital before she was born, and then 1 month in the hospital after she was born. But today, there is nothing to see. You can't see anything on her that she was born premature. But that was also another big scar for me, because during that period of that, when I was dealing with the preeclampsia, is a condition called preeclampsia, one of the symptoms is extreme high blood pressure. That I could hear my own heartbeat in my head, in my ears. I could hear it going boom, 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 boom. And they were giving me medicine, and it wasn't helping. And high blood pressure wasn't because I was worried or I don't know what, but it was just because of that condition. So eventually, I was able to bring this baby home. And that made a lot of, even though I had all those dark days, dark months, bringing that child home was, I don't know how to say it. It was
a compensation,
something I didn't think
a healing.
possible. It wasn't something I thought possible. It wasn't, for me, it was just unbelievable to see that, a real human being, a real baby. After they had told me I will not be able to have children, after they had said they were going to remove my womb, what if I had agreed to remove my womb? So sometimes it's good to be stubborn, sometimes it's not good, but sometimes you have to have a stand. You know, make a decision and just stand by it.
But when I read your book, though, I was thinking, is it because then you lost your mother after that? And so you have a lot of traumas. And I was thinking, is it because this your facial thing that happened, it was like out of nowhere. It was like from, you know, from at least from the book. So I was thinking, is it the accumulation of all your sorrow, you know, sadness, all those traumas and all those mourning and the crying and the, you know, the thing that led to that, or what?
No, I don't think so. I can't really say exactly what happened. I don't know what happened, how it happened, when it happened. But when I noticed it for the first time, and then I began to look.
You were looking at the mirror and you saw a change?
No, I was looking at the mirror every day, but I never really noticed a change. Until one day, I went to the hospital and a nurse asked me a question. She said, ma'am, did you have a stroke? I said, no, why? She said, because when you talk, one part of your face doesn't move. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I never had a stroke. Okay. So I went into the hospital toilet. I stood in front of the mirror and I spoke. And really, one part of my face wasn't moving. So I didn't know what it was. I mean, I at that moment, I couldn't remember myself ever knowing me without my face that I'm looking at in a mirror. I couldn't remember me any other way than what I was looking at now. So
nothing changed.
For me, nothing changed. This was how I was. So I went home and I asked my husband that. No, I didn't tell him first. When I came home, he wasn't home. So I started looking for old pictures. I brought out my pictures of the year before, it was the same. So I started looking for old pictures. I brought out the picture. I remember the picture from which I noticed a difference. That was the very first picture we took at the first New Year festival that the Igbo Union did here in Belgium. I was at that New Year festival with my husband in African clothes. And I went into the kitchen and I saw that picture. I looked at that picture and I looked at recent pictures. No, I saw that something was different. So I took it upstairs to my husband and said, do you see anything different in my face? He said, no, why? I said, doesn't it look like my face is disfigured?
So at that point you are talking, it has not become obvious like this.
I think it was, but not like this.
Okay.
So I asked him, I said, do you see anything? He said, no. I said, okay. Now look at this picture. Look at this picture. He said, he looked at it, he said, yeah, you're right. Something is different. What is going on? And that's how that drama started. I did I did all the tests I could. There was nothing. I didn't have any brain damage. I didn't have nothing. I didn't have an accident. Nothing happened to me. My face just started disfigured. Nothing happened to me. Now, I am in a group called Bell Palsy and Facial Paralysis Support Group. A lot of the people there, they talk about Bell Palsy. It's something that maybe some people, they just wake up and they see that their face is disfigured.
What do you call it?
Or maybe they are just talking
face
and
palsy?
it happens.
What do you call it?
Bell Palsy.
Bell
Bells. Bells. Balsey.
Bell's palsy.
Bell's palsy.
Okay.
So in that group, I see a lot of people talk about how their own happened. Oh, it happened to me yesterday. I woke up yesterday and it happened, and I am taking treatment. But I cannot tell the day it happened to me. I don't remember when it happened to me. I don't know how it happened to me. If that woman had not told me, I would never have thought about doing anything about it, or thought about the fact that something was wrong. I didn't know about it. Nobody.
But
and
what about in the process when it started becoming very obvious like this? Was it for a woman, the face is a big deal. And how did you deal with that?
I didn't really deal with it because, okay, I in my mind, like every year I go to Nigeria. My family never said anything. My husband didn't say anything. But when I noticed it, I now went to doctors. And they couldn't find what was the problem. They didn't know what was the problem. I did every test, they didn't see anything. So I just moved on with my life. I wasn't ashamed. I just felt, well, whatever it was, they checked my brain, they checked everything. They didn't see what happened. They don't know what happened. They said it's just facial nerve damage. From what? They were asking me if we had this kind of thing in my family, if I had been ill, if I had had any kind of illness. I don't know. I never saw anybody who had anything like that. So I just moved on with my life. That woman advised me to consult a neurosurgeon. Maybe they will know what to do. But before I could actually make a proper arrangement to do anything about it, my mom died. But looking at pictures that I had, this thing had been with me for long before my mother died. But I knew this woman told me about it not long. Before then, I kept saying, I will. I went to one doctor. After describing how and what he's going to do, I just felt no. My husband said there was no need. You know what? I love you the way you are, whatever. So we stayed. I didn't really take any step to do something about it. They said, keep taking vitamin C, keep doing that, do exercise, rub it, and do all that.
But
I did all those things.
Do you feel it? Do you feel that side of the face, or you don't feel it if anybody touches you that side of the face?
Yes, I do. I feel it.
So you have feelings, everything?
Yes, I do. I do have. If I pinch it, I have feeling. Yes, I have feeling.
But I like the way you came up with the title of this book. And you connected it with because if you talk about scars, people will be thinking about your look. They don't know that it is the inside that is even more prominent in your book.
Yes.
How did you come up with the title?
I don't know. I think before coming up with the idea to write the book, it had already been in my head. Before actually beginning the book, I started the book on the 29th of September last year. And but before then, it had been in my head that when all these things happened after the operation didn't go well. The man told me, yes, you are going to do it, and it's going. And after the operation, it now became more. It now became what it is now. It wasn't like this before.
So you did operation on the face?
Yes, I did. My head was cut open from here to here. If you look, is there till this place, then from here to this place.
Are you serious?
It was an open face surgery.
It's not possible.
It is. I have pictures. I'll send you pictures of it. The pictures some of the pictures are even on Facebook. Yes. When after the surgery, you wouldn't know that I'm a human being. You see, people ask me, I don't know, don't you feel embarrassed when
So
you're
you are
walking?
saying it became worse after the surgery?
It became worse after the surgery. This swelling,
Yes.
this swelling was not there before the surgery. This swelling was not there before the surgery. It became like that after the surgery. And then the doctor wanted me to do a second surgery to try to repair it. I said no.
No, but what they were supposed to do is just plastic operation.
That's what he told me. No, it wasn't a plastic surgery. It was nerve replacement.
Okay.
It was nerve replacement. Because if they did plastic surgery and the nerve was still dead, it will continue deteriorating. So they wanted to do nerve graft, taking nerves from a part of my body and connecting it to this. That's why this other side was open, to connect this part of the nerve to this part, so that the one on this side can help this part to grow. But unfortunately, it didn't work. And instead of, of it getting better, it got worse. This part was not there before the surgery. I couldn't smile well, not that I can now, but it got worse after the surgery. This part that is drooping really low now was not drooping like that before the surgery. And so after the surgery, he asked me to come and do plastic surgery. I said no.
Because it could even become worse again.
Yeah, I didn't trust him anymore. Besides, he took all my life savings. So with what was I going to go back to him to do that surgery? And even if I had the money, I wasn't going to go. I didn't trust him anymore, because when he was doing it the first time, he told me, well, in 6 weeks you should be able to smile, but it will take you about 2 years before you can talk normal. So I was ready to wait for the 2 years before talking normal. I've talked enough in my life. So I was ready with it. I was okay with it to wait those 2 years. But as the time went on, I wasn't seeing any change. The swelling was just this eye. It took long before I could open this eye. This one wasn't closing. This one stayed continually open, while this one was continually closed. And when he told me that, I didn't want to do it. I refused. So the scars.
That's why I said you are one of the strongest women I've met recently. You are just phenomenal. And the book is just captivating.
Thank you. Thank you.
What would you like to say before we finish the program?
One thing I want to say is this to everyone, because for me, when people see me, they see my scars. So it's easy for people to say, oh, that's the woman with the scar. But there are many people that you see well packaged, but the scars inside their souls, they are not just old wounds, old scars. They are scars that are still bleeding.
Inside.
Inside. People have scars inside that are still bleeding. My own is easy to see on my face. But what about those that are still bleeding inside? What do I want to say to them? Everyone is created with a purpose. Not everybody can write a book. Not everybody can sing. Not everybody can be a lawyer. Not everybody can be a doctor. But you have a purpose for which you were sent into this world. Everybody. Many people will tell you, well, DSA, what you are doing, I cannot do it. Yeah, you cannot do it because you were not created with that purpose.
But so the scars shouldn't stop the purpose.
No, because the purpose was given. That's why I use purposed in past tense, not purpose. Purposed. I was purposed beyond my scar. I was purposed first before the scars started happening. I already had this purpose, and it cannot stop me from achieving that purpose. And everyone is created with a purpose. And regardless of what their issues may be, the scar inside their heart or wherever the location is, they need to learn to treat it. If it's bleeding, there are medicines, there are things there are resources everywhere to treat bleeding. Whatever the scar is, look, there are resources everywhere. There are different. What you use for treating my face is not the same thing you use for treating my heart. Look for those resources. Many of us just say, well, it has happened. Now I'm dead. I'm gone. So they just take themselves, put themselves in a bottle and lock it up. No. Look for resources. Look for something that you love. Look for a way to get out of that place where you find yourself. If you know that purpose for which you were created, first of all, try to discover what is the purpose for which I'm here. Once you discover that purpose, every other thing may delay you, but they cannot stop you. That's what I believe. That is what I have come to believe. Did I believe it from day one? No. Were there times when I felt like, no, this is it for me? Of course. And even now, do I still sometimes get rattled? Yes. But not rattled to the point where I say, I'm going to give up. So the word I say is never, ever give up.
Wow. Bravo. You see, I want to find out, maybe even though we have already spent 45 minutes beyond our time limit, but okay. I want to find out if there is anybody that wants to call and say something to the program. Okay. So for those people who want to call to the program, please, do the honors, and what we normally do, go to Facebook Messenger, and when you get to Facebook Messenger, look for Move Agents in Facebook Messenger, and then you could write us a note and say you want to call. Move Agents, one word, Matic. Move Agents Matic. And then you could send us a note that I want to call into the program, and we will connect you to be able to say a few words to Amanda. But this is the book here. It's on Amazon. I think that's the way to get it. Do we have Amanda's contact if anybody wants to get in touch with her? Yeah, okay, we will show your contact. If anybody wants to get in touch with Amanda as well, please, you can get in touch with her through this contact that we are going to show now on the screen. You are going to see it as a subtitle, and you'll be able to contact her. She's on Facebook. You'll be able to, write her, inbox her. And also, besides this book, I also want to tell you that I have a new book that is called Kingdom of Sons. And that's my latest book. My next book after that is going to be very interesting. It's going to be a book that is going to be closer to the topic that Amanda slightly, touched on today. I'm going to write about women. And I'm sure that people will not believe the topic of the next book, that the way it's going to be called. I said, women or ladies, forget marriage. Forget about marriage. Build your life.
Ogao.
You speak Yoruba? Ogao.
No.
Okay. Okay, so.
But this one is strong, oh.
Yeah, that one is strong. It's going to come out.
Wow.
Maybe this. Maybe we are going to release the book this Friday or tomorrow or Monday. Yeah, it's going to be called "Ladies, Forget About Marriage. Build Your Life. Build yourself. Build your life. Build your life before thinking about marriage. Build your life before thinking about marriage. But don't let me go before myself. Anyway, the present one that I've released this week is Kingdom of Sons. I believe that Amanda is a son in the Lord. Amanda, can you tell us the things that you are doing to realize this your purpose?
Okay. I have an online TV program called Upliftment Hour.
Okay.
Where I talk about not just my own issues, but other issues, sometimes from the scripture, sometimes a story that someone tells me, I talk about it. Then I have an online radio program as well. It's actually an FM radio program that is a local radio station here, but we also show it live stream on Facebook.
This is radio station in Belgium.
Yes, it's a radio station in Belgium. When they saw
one of the events, are you living in Brussels?
No. I live in a little village called Maasmechelen. Near Holland, near Maastricht in Holland.
Okay, yes.
It's in the border.
Yes, border town.
Yeah, it's a border town.
So, but you do many. So, what are the other things you do?
Okay, the other things I do, I organize events, worship events. I organize a yearly award program called the Impact Makers Awards to honor people who use their lives to impact others. Because if someone is rich and they are not helping anybody, then they are actually poor. So we do that, and then organize every now and then. We organize worship programs where people just come
just a
together.
Minute, Amanda. I think we have a caller.
Okay.
Hello,
DSA.
Yes, can you speak louder, please?
You hear me now?
Yes. Who is calling from where?
My name is Moyosore, and I'm calling from Ireland.
Moyosore from Ireland. Yes, please.
Yes, I would just like to say thank you so very much for bringing Amanda on today. I really find her story absolutely breathtaking. Empowering, and I would just like to briefly say that I can relate a bit to her story, especially about losing her twins. I lost my daughter when she was 2, and she was born with Down syndrome, and she was born in Nigeria, and we came to Ireland purposely for her health purposes, to get help for her for surgery and all that. And I remember when we were in Nigeria, and there wasn't really much hope. It was really praying every day and just, holding on every day, and just trying to see how best we could make her comfortable, because we didn't really get, how should I say, there was not much hope really. And I remember then that every time she had a crisis, she fell ill and all that, I was actually praying and, hoping that she would, pass on and, be free from all that pain. And because there was really no hope. But then we came to Ireland, and we found hope. There was hope. The doctors said, oh yeah, we could do surgery, we could actually, help her live a much, better and fulfilling life. And then my perspective changed, and I realized that, there's much more, that I could do for her. I actually started building dreams. I had aspirations for her. I had all this, there was a new life, there was a new burst of hope in me for her. Whereas in Nigeria, it was just, Ki Sira Sira, what will be? If she dies, I just give glory to God for the short while we had her. I was prepared for, the worst. But when I got into Ireland, and, there was this new life, new hope, new vision. I started building dreams for her. I started building, I had visions in my head, and, I had plans for her life. And she had a surgery, and just 2 months to her birthday, she had a crisis, and she had a massive infection, and she was in ICU for about 2 weeks, and she never came out. She died. I remember that I really couldn't mourn her then, because I had just given birth to my son then, and I think he was about 3-4 months then. And so I had to be strong for him. I really couldn't mourn her. And then my husband as well. He couldn't really take the pain. My husband is more of a crier than I am. He was in tears, he was broken. And so I had to be strong for him as well. And, I suppose maybe, I know we were offered counseling, we were offered, help that, if you needed grief, to manage your grief and all that. But I just said, you know what, no, I'm fine, I'll be fine, I'll be strong, because I needed to be strong for my husband, I needed to be strong for my son then. And I just, I didn't really mourn my child, even when she was being buried and all that. I didn't really mourn her, I didn't really cry. My husband was the one that was crying, and it was even hard to talk about it. We couldn't really talk about it because every time I raised the issue, he would be in tears. So it was hard. And I kind of pushed my grief to the back of my mind. I pushed it to the back. I carried on with life. I went back to school then, and I decided to go and do a course in healthcare. And I remember I wrote a project, and I decided to do my project on Down syndrome, and sort of in honor of my daughter. And I realized this was about 3-4 years after she had died. And I was writing my project, doing all the research and all that. I started understanding her condition more. I started understanding, what she had felt then, the pains and, what was going on with her. All the information I didn't really have before I had it, and this was coming from a professional point of view. And I remember the last day of the project when I wrote the last sentence of that project, and I had to write a dedication. And when I finished writing that dedication, the moment I put the last full stop, I don't know where this emotion came from. It was like a wave, a massive wave of emotion from the deep pit of my stomach. This cold, this icy, icy cold came up from the pit of my stomach. It grabbed me, it gripped me in its, it was suffocating. And I screamed out in pain. I was in front of my computer and I screamed. And I was crying and crying. I thought I was going to die from this grief. I had never felt it before. I didn't know where it was coming from. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was going mad. And I was trying to console myself. I was unconsolable. I had to call a friend of mine. And I called, I said, please come, I am dying. And she said, what's wrong with you? I said, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I think I'm dying. And she said, are you sick? I said, I don't know. But this icy cold feeling from the pit of my stomach, I could not explain it. So she rushed over to me and I just said, just hold me. And I was shivering and crying, and she just held me in her arms. And something just told her to look up. She looked up on my computer screen and saw what I was writing. She read the dedication I wrote, and she was like, she just said, oh my God, Moyo, I know what's wrong with you. You are grieving, this is grief. And I said, is that what this is? I said, I don't know what this is, but I just know it's so painful. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be feeling this. And she said, you know what, just ride it out. Just ride it out. She was my rock at that moment, and she just held on to me. For like 5 hours, I was on the floor, just crying and crying until, I felt a bit of myself. Then I called my husband, and I was able to explain to him what happened. And he was like, what you felt in that one day is what I have been feeling the last 3-4 years. And I said, oh my God. So eventually we decided, okay, we needed to go for counseling. We needed to go for grief counseling. We needed to talk to someone, to help us through this. And yeah, I'd just like to share that and let people, know that, yeah, when you see people sometimes with smiles, you don't know the scars they carry inside. And some people just don't know how to deal with grief. And like Amanda said, her own grief manifested somehow physically, but mine was just pushed to the back of the burner, pushed to the back of my mind, and I just didn't know what to do. And whenever you are able, whenever you find yourself in a situation like that, just go for counseling, go and get help, because you never know when it might hit you. Yeah, so that's just what I would like to share. Thank you so very much.
Wow, what a touching testimony. Amazing. Thank you for calling, because this would definitely help someone. Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much.
You.
All right. You sure it's monkey? Wow, Amanda.
Wow,
that is another story that confirms what you have told us about. Scars that are hidden, that people might not be obvious, that we all might not know about, but people are carrying some scars around every day. All of us have some scars.
Yes.
And we should know that our purpose goes beyond our scars.
Indeed. Reach out, look for resources, books, videos, whatever it is. Talk to people, talk to support group. I don't know, look for people you trust, people you can talk to, not people that will use your story as I don't know, a sermon, but people who will actually talk to you, even if they don't talk to you, people who will listen.
Well, Amanda, we had a wonderful program with you. We are 1 hour beyond our regular time because it was so interesting. We had to go beyond it. I'll be coming back in the next 10 minutes for people who are watching my live broadcast. I'm talking about understanding service and stewardship. And stewardship this week. So I'll be back in the next 10 minutes. But Amanda,
it's all right. I'll join you there.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate you for doing this for me. I have put the book is available on Amazon, and for those in Nigeria, you can get the book in Benin City at Marvelous Bookshops and Bible Wonderland in Lagos. But it's available on Amazon. I'll put the link up so that people can order the book. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate this. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Amanda, and greetings to your daughters and to your husband, to your whole family. God bless you.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay, guys, so I'll be back, like I said, in the next 10, 15 minutes. And this is my latest book as well, Kingdom of Sons. It will be transformational and revolutionary for you as you read it. And you can read all my books on Amazon for free. In Nigeria, you can get all my books on DSA Books Planet. One word, DSABooksPlanet.com. They will bring it to your house physically. But if you want to buy electronic, it's okadabooks.com. But DSA Books Planet is physical if you want to buy book physically.com. So thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you in the next few minutes. Peace.